What up, world? R.I.C.H coming right back at you. Today we gotta talk about Fat Joe and his comments on Gunna. Fat Joe said he's conflicted because he feels like some of the hottest rappers are rats. He points to Gunna's new album as an example, saying the music is hot, but he can't support it because Gunna is a rat.
The hottest guys in the game, rats. Like, I get a phone call from somebody, he says, yo, man, you gotta check this album out. Ever since I assumed you a rat, your people ain't fucking with you no more, you know, I'm not listening, I'm off you, no matter what you do. And I get on the plane and they fuck me. I listened to this album. This album was so good. I was so guilty of this shit. I listened to this album, I said, shit.
Didn't know you talking about Gunna.
I'm not saying, throw the flag. Now you got a flag.
About.
You got a flag. You have a flag. Cause we said we wasn't mentioning names like that.
But you just said all of that and
all I said the album was fire. There's a million rats out
shout
there.
that you like his album.
Nah.
And you just said you liked it. You just said you enjoyed it. And then said, nah.
No. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is...
You just said it.
So where is... We don't care no more in hip-hop? You can rap? No, I'm asking.
You can't rap.
But what if you do? You got the #1 album? You got 2 million people on your live? You're this and that. What the fuck is going on the earth? And Gunna ain't right. He just said the gun in the car wasn't his, and there's only one other person in the car with him.
What?
You get that on the way home. This is crazy out here.
Shit.
Michael tells him, you broke my heart. You broke my heart. Yeah. Let me try to lighten this shit up a little, you know?
Please do, because you over there going too gangster.
Let me tell you something.
You said you liked the album. That's what you...
It's
a good album. It's a good album.
The album is good.
But you feel bad listening to it?
Yeah, I'm a different, you know, I had a friend, one of my best friends, one of the funniest guys in the world. Like, you would laugh all day. He would make you laugh all day. One of my best friends. And he kept hustling. And I'm Fat Joe the rapper. And I say, yo, bro, let me buy you a boat. Like I said, I don't let people take advantage of me. But I begged him, let me buy you a bodega. Let me get you a fucking laundromat. Let me buy you something so you can get... He did the Rich Porter. The streets love me. I'm this and that. He's talking all this shit. He gets snatched up by the feds. Right? I'm like, damn. One night, I'm in Washington Heights. We have a dinner after the club. You know how you go to the spot after the club and eat? And Dominican dude jumps up and goes, yo! Yo! Your friend telling the Dominicans. Your friend! In the middle of a restaurant in Washington Heights. And I'm sitting there. And I look at him, I knew exactly what he was talking about. So he told me the name, I said, Papi, I don't sell drugs. You never see me around this. Don't do this ever again to me. You talking to the wrong guy. I don't sell drugs. I rap. This is that. And I'll punch you in your face next time you do some shit like that. Straight up, right? Calmed him down. His crew grabbed him. Well, he had a point, valid point. You hanging out with niggas talking about you ain't with the rats, this, that. The nigga rat. He comes home from jail. And they sending me messages like, yo, this nigga ain't even got a jacket. It's cold, this, that. I never went to see this guy one time in my life after he ratted because he violated the code. And this is a guy, I can still tell you to this day, I loved him. Like a best friend, I loved him. But because of the code, I can't fuck with him. Right? And so I've been through this in my life. And so to see it so acceptable, how everybody's acting like, yo, it's okay, it's no problem, it's good music, let's separate the art form from what it is.
Let's start here. This is the very same Joe that has been in the music industry for 30 years and knows exactly how this game operates. He knows that street rules and music business rules are not the same, but he wants to blur the lines and make it seem like one code controls both worlds. And that right there is a problem. That's been the problem in hip hop for years. When you mix street codes with business moves, you get confusion. You get contradictions. You get hypocrisy. Fat Joe is acting like this is about principle. But if it was about principle, he wouldn't have benefited from working with people who have been labeled informants themselves. Let's talk history. Because if we go back, Roc Nation had executives like Desiree Perez, a woman who was labeled an informant in the 90s after a federal drug case. And guess who has benefited from a relationship with Roc Nation over the years? Fat Joe. So let me get this straight. It's wrong for Gunna to drop music and succeed because you think he's a rat, but it wasn't wrong for you to work with people who have had the same label in the past. That's selective morality. That's picking and choosing when the code matters and when it doesn't. And hip hop can't survive like that, because if we really applied that same energy across the board, half the industry would be erased overnight. Fat Joe even admitted he likes his music. He said himself that Gunna's new album is hot. So you're basically saying, I like the music, but I won't allow myself to enjoy it because of this street narrative. That's not principle. That's not self-conflict. That's confusion. And let me say this, Gunna's fans don't seem to be confused at all because his albums are selling. He doing numbers. He's still top 3 on the Billboard chart. So who's really conflicted? The culture has already made its decision. They want the music. Hip hop has always had people with questionable pasts. Some artists funded their careers with dirty money. Some made deals behind closed doors. Some cooperated in ways we'll never know about. But if the standard is once you're labeled a rat, I can't listen to your music, then let's be honest. You have to cancel some of the same people you celebrate. That's the double standard. That's the part Fat Joe don't want to acknowledge. He wants to act like this is all about principle, but in reality, it's selective enforcement. Now let's go deeper. In the 80s and 90s, hip hop was already dealing with informants and fed cases. You had labels tied to the streets. You had artists getting caught up and making deals just to stay out of prison. And yet, some of them went on to become legends. Some of them went on to build companies that employed hundreds of people. So let me ask this question. If we canceled them the same way Fat Joe wants to cancel Gunna, would hip hop even exist in the form it does today? The answer is no, it wouldn't. So this conversation that Fat Joe is having is not only ridiculous, it's historically ignorant. You can't rewrite the rules of the culture midway. You can't suddenly decide who gets a pass and who doesn't, especially when you yourself have been connected to people with the same allegations. That's why this whole thing falls apart. Now here's the other side. Fat Joe talks about loyalty and being violated by a friend who ratted on him. That's personal. I respect that. But personal trauma doesn't give you the right to project that onto the entire hip hop community. Because what you experienced in the street is not the same as what happens in a music contract or a courtroom. And when you mix the two, you destroy the difference between art and survival. Gunna's alpha plea is not the same as being a full-on cooperator. His lawyers have said it, the documents show it, but the internet and the industry love labels. And Fat Joe decided to pick up that label and run with it, when he could have just said, I'm not listening to it, and left it at that. Instead, he put a spotlight on it and made himself the judge and the jury. And that's the part that makes him look silly. This ain't about Gunna anymore. This is about double standards and the hypocrisy in hip-hop. Fat Joe wants to claim he's standing on principle, but history shows he's benefited from people with the same issues. And that's why his comments ring hollow. That's why he's out here sounding out of touch with the culture he helped build. But hey, that's just my opinion. What's yours? Like, comment, subscribe, establish rich. I'll be back with another one. Peace.